Good morning. I'm so excited to be here with Sarah Franklin, who is an amazing carnivore nutritionalist and also a NRT practitioner. We met a few years ago through the steak and butter gang initially, and I'm really excited to be here chatting with you today. We have done a ton of work over the years together. Initially, me treating your body using NRT when you were living in New York. Since then, obviously transformed a whole heap of dysfunction and weakness in your body, and you have now become a practitioner yourself, which is amazing. And you've moved to Costa Rica with your hubby. So welcome. Very
Thank
exciting.
you.
We haven't talked for
Thank you.
ages. So Sarah
I
and I are just
know.
gonna have a catch up, answer some questions, and yeah, just talk all about health and NRT today.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you. It's been a long time. And yeah, initially, in nutrition space, we met over carnivore and, thriving on meat and all of those things. And then Jess was talking about what is, neuro reset technique. What is it? And I was intrigued that it was something to be done online. So I was like, what is this? And it was a shoulder injury that started it all. And then it
Mm.
just snowballed into so much more of what I wanted to do that, yeah, then I started studying myself and now do that in person here in Costa Rica. So if anybody is looking for a little getaway and a little treatment, they can come
Yay.
visit. Yeah.
Amazing. We were just saying the other day, weren't we, that we need to do a retreat for NRT, like have
Mm.
a yearly annual kind of businessy thing because it can feel quite lonely. There are only 20 of us globally in the world that are trained in this modality. And a lot of people don't understand it. They don't know what it is. They compare it to other therapies that are not at all like it. And,
Mm.
if we think about the population of the world, there's probably 0.00001% that actually know it, have used it, and have experienced it. So if you have any comments or questions, just pop it in the comment section below and we'll get back to you with those answers. Um, I have had a couple of questions through this morning, which we'll just dive into first. And then we can
Yeah.
have a little catch up on what you've just treated on yourself, what you've learned recently, just sharing a little bit. So, an intro to NRT, I guess, is that we work with the nervous system in the brain and we're able to instantly restore muscle control, muscle strength, and muscle capacity. This is from a non-conscious level. So we're working directly with the brain and the nervous system on the sensory information that is coming in at all times from our body, being collected by the brain, so that our body can tell us where we are, so that our brain can then tell us where to go. Without that
Mhm.
simple signal exchange, function is impossible, painful, immobile,
Yeah.
weak. And it's not from a conscious place. We work on a non-conscious level, and that's what makes this so unique. That we're able to actually strengthen your nervous system and your brain and affect your muscular system to be able to actually load and move the way that we're meant to move with ease, with effortlessness, like we were when we were kids. So
Yes.
it's been a incredible journey for me. I've been in health 23 years. I came across NRT a decade. No, God, how old's my daughter? 13 years ago, I came across NRT and I'd been in health for a decade before that. And it just changed everything. The way that I
Mhm.
worked with clients, what I thought about my own body, how I applied training to my own system, how I eat, how I sleep, like it's had such an impact on my life. And at the beginning, because I was a personal trainer in London and I'd done heaps of postgrad stuff, I was looking for this like, where's the new age? Where's the technology? We're in the 2000s and I found that with clients, if they wanted to lose weight or they wanted to put on some muscle, it was reasonably easy to do. But if they had an injury, I would be pretty stumped. And I would be like, okay, let's change the angle. Let's try a cable. Let's try different things to work around the weaknesses that people were presenting with. And it was common, right? Everybody's injured. Everybody has tightness or weakness or pain. And
Mhm.
I'd send them off to another practitioner because I could only do what I knew. But so many times, probably 9 times out of 10, those people would come back from the physio, the chiro, the osteo, or whatever, with their problems either stagnant and they wouldn't see any improvement. It would take a long
Yeah.
time if they did get any improvement, or more commonly, they got no improvement at all and their problems would exacerbate. And I kept
Yeah.
seeing it, and I was like, come on, where's the technology? And so I was looking actively for something better than what currently existed in the health industry, doing
Mhm.
tons of study and postgrad stuff. And I was very fortunate to come across Simon Frost, who's the creator of NRT. He's based in the UK. And my life changed for the better ever since. So I
Yeah.
threw myself into studying. I've learned a ton. I still learn a ton. I still see Simon every single week and learn more and get new because as the body, or as we learn more about the body, the treatment and the modality evolves and allows us to
Mhm.
help and support more people. And it's just been a beautiful experience to actually be able to actually help people actually do what we say we do. Because
Yeah.
can we guarantee instant strength? Yes. Instant function? Yes. Instant range of motion? Yes. And do you get to keep those results? Yes, you do. Once you have relearned them at a non-conscious level, those are yours to keep. And I'd never
Mhm.
seen anything like it. I'd never seen something that gave me strength and control or range of motion and mobility. And it didn't go away after my doing something else. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I threw myself into it and I support and help people from all over the world. It's just been so incredible. So yeah, I'm very passionate about my work. I'm very passionate about the people that we can help and support. And I'm also very passionate about nutrition. So it all works in very nicely with and
Yeah. It's similar, I trained in the mainstream medical. So I was in pharmaceutical sales for 18 years, and
Mm,
I worked and learned in the International Diabetes Center. So I was heavily into nutrition, how it worked, medications, cardiology, diabetes, and everything was wrong. Like, people never came off medications. It was all about what fit this disease, what it was. And I trained doctors. So I taught physicians with a marketing degree, first of all, about
good.
nutrition,
Mm,
medication, all of this. And I had a really good working knowledge, and I understood what they told me. And then when I saw nobody was getting better, people are getting sicker, getting fatter, it was just not working. And then even I had my own issues when I was eating clean and all the whole ingredient foods, and whether it was fruits and vegetables, and just everything was wrong because there's so much more when it comes to nutrition. And I started to question everything. I ended up going, back to the basics, and found keto and carnivore. And then it was just, all of that blew my mind, and using my knowledge of how to read clinical trials and studies and everything that they had trained me to, I did my own digging and found the lies that have been weaved in there
yeah.
about nutrition. And so I have completely flipped. I always say, like, just do the opposite of everything you're told, and you'll probably be better. Um, but that's where it started. And then it's just led me to question everything, and, why and how does that work? And is it logical? And does it make sense? And then in those carnivore groups and just meeting people, finding NRT, and same thing, like, you're told, oh yeah, you just go get a massage and go to the chiropractor. And that was maintenance, right? Like, I felt like that was the best it's supposed to be. And I did that
Mm,
every week and every month, and it wasn't enough. And then actually now I work with, I get a bunch of referrals from an amazing chiropractor in town, because she started seeing people and they weren't getting better. And she's like, "What do you do?" And I did a session for her, and she was just blown away. Like, this is crazy. I've never felt like this, and never had, been able to do this with my low back, and I've been able to bike, and just all of these different things. And so she's been sending me her clients that come in weekly, monthly, for the same readjustment for the same thing
Yep.
because there is such a difference and your body goes back to what it knows. It's just going to go back to that unless you actually fix the root cause and change that pathway that it actually now has better function. So yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool to use it
It's great
all, right?
that you found someone too that was able to not be threatened or intimidated by this
Absolutely.
technique, because a
Yeah.
lot of people are, and it's understandable because the modality that they're using, they have belief in, they have seen people have positive impacts. So they
Yeah.
have their own knowledge and experience and wisdom around that.
Yeah.
And I remember I showed one of the physios in a gym that I was working with in London, and she just turned to me at the end of the session and said, what do I do now?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So
and
she asked me, like,
it
is there a world
really
where
spun her out. She said, "I don't know how to do my job now. What
I
does this
know
mean for me? What does this mean?
that
Like, how am I going to go through the rest of my day and with my patients? Because what you
yep,
showed me about the nervous system and the body is not what I understood or believed it to be." And that
absolutely.
is so confronting.
Similar. Yeah, I had a similar experience. She's like, how, when she had an injury, and she's like, you're the first person I called, and I was able to help her. And then she was going to get an adjustment after. And I was like, whoa, 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 let's not do that right now. Like, I know.
Mm,
And she's like, it's going against everything I've been trained. And she's like, is there a world where chiropractic and NRT exist together? And I was like, yeah, I can't answer that. Like, I can't completely answer that. I know how that works. We don't want to, what we just did, your body is happy, your body is stable, your body is in a good place. And we did all of these tests, everything was strong. So I know what that result is. But once you go change everything, is it going to be better or worse? We would only
yeah,
know if we tested you after. So
yeah.
she's like, I don't know. I'm just so used to doing that same
Mm.
thing. It's like, now what? So it's
Scary. It's scary because, I was seeing a girl that had she'd been going to the chiropractor twice a week for 7 years for like
mm,
little micro adjustments, 15-minute sessions
yeah,
twice a week. And I said
yeah,
to her, like, why did you just keep going? And she said, well, I just didn't want it to get any worse. Like it didn't get better, but I didn't want it to get worse. And I didn't
right.
really know that there was any other alternative. So I just kept doing the thing, which is totally
Yeah,
understandable. Um,
yeah.
and now, fast forward, we've done so much work on her spine, and actually, most of it's been virtual as well, which is insane because this modality is such a hands-on experience because we're able to
Mhm.
actually test your nervous system, test your body, and see and discover where the weaknesses are through this really amazing assessment protocol. And so we don't have to
Mhm.
guess anything. Your body will show us
Right.
exactly where the weakness is. And then once we've
Yeah,
strengthened that, we can see the instant change in real time. In real time, people get stronger. In real time, people get more mobile. In real time, people get better function. And
yeah,
so there's no denying what this does. And because I've worked with, oh my God, hundreds, maybe more, thousands, maybe, of people over the last 13 years,
yeah.
I've seen that same impact, that same application applied to somebody, and it's had the same
Mhm.
result for every single person.
Yeah,
And I think because of that reinforcement of what this does and what I've seen it to do, not just for some people, but for every single human I've ever touched,
right.
that confidence grows and builds in what this can do and how it works. So,
Yeah, and it's tough 'cause, like, I did it with you online, and at first it was like, is this gonna do anything?" And it's a totally different world. It's slower for sure, but
mm,
it's still amazing where even
yeah,
the other day, I have a client that I've only worked with remotely who is in the United States that she had had horrible hip pain and we were able to do so much. She couldn't walk. Like she would walk minimally, but she couldn't like go for a walk and she couldn't sit long and just so many different things. And over the weeks, we did several sessions and she's been able to go for walks. She's like, I've been doing so good.
yeah,
And she was getting stronger. And then all of a sudden she had like an injury where she injured her knee. And it was like, I'm so afraid I was doing so good now. And we did one session and did some things that we found that were an issue. And within the next day, she's like, I can't believe already I can stand on it again. I can feel better. Like it's that quick for so many things. Um,
Mm.
it's very, it's it's very awesome, but it's something you don't want. I don't like to oversell it to people
Yeah.
because I don't, there's a lot of stuff, especially down in Costa Rica, that is super woo-woo. There is like
Mm.
any therapy that you want to do, you can do it here. There's the weirdest things that I don't want to be one of those people that I over promise something and, say that I'm doing this one thing that nobody else can do, but even though it is. So I do try to just let me show you because you would not even believe the level of crazy things that people do here. So in the name of health, but the things they do, like they take venom. It's called combo. They take poisonous frog venom, get injections in their arms, and then puke their brains out for a detox. Yeah, it's insane. Like,
Wow.
I'm like,
So,
detox your body. How about you just eat good food and then do a fast? That'll detox your body and not violently throw up.
wow.
So
So that is crazy. I know what you mean though, because it does seem because there's not much out there about it, because there's very little of us in the world. Like when people come across it, they're like, "What is this? And how does it work?" And someone said to me
yeah,
the other day, "Why do you charge so much more than normal, physical therapists and practitioners?"
yeah,
One, because there is 20 of us in the world. This
yeah.
technique can do things that other things cannot do. That we do things that nobody else can do on this whole planet. And we stop surgeries. I have had that many surgeries cancelled of people and clients and patients that I've worked with that no longer need it
That's
in
amazing. Yeah.
4 sessions. Like, uh, you know,
Yeah.
all the crazy testimonies, all the people that I've worked with, all the transformations that have been had. And so we prevent surgeries. We do. We stop a lot of surgeries. And that's why it is surgical rates. And people don't understand that. So they're like, why is it more? And how does it work? And how is it different? And why isn't there more out there about it? And so
Yeah.
that's what's really important for you and I to have these conversations and for other people to start opening their mind to this and how it works because it is life changing. And we can do things that nobody else can. And I say that confidently because I've seen it. One of
Yeah.
my clients at the moment in Canada, he
Mm.
had a stroke and he couldn't walk up and down his stairs without holding onto the walls, and he had massive pain and problems in his hands and limbs. And he's a very creative human. So he plays drums and he paints and he plays the guitar and he rides his bike, and he couldn't do any of those things. And we fast forward now to, I think he's been with me for about 7 months now. And he is back on his bike and he is walking up and down the stairs without holding on. And he is playing his guitar and he's got control of his hands again. And he's got able to play the drums, and everything is improve, 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 improve. And it's just been up, 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 up.
Yeah.
And he messaged me the other day and said this was the best day I've had post-stroke. Like he is just absolutely flying. He's doing so incredibly. But when he first came
Of
across me, he was super skeptical, as he should be.
course. Of course.
We
Yeah.
don't want blind belief, and it's beautiful if people trust us. Great. We don't actually want that. We want people to get the knowledge from us,
Hmm.
have an experience of it for themselves so that they can learn what this does, and then that creates the wisdom for it,
Yeah.
because without it it's just knowledge and it's just
Yeah.
words. And so unless you actually take the plunge, it's very hard for people to have a different perception of how this works.
Yeah.
um,
It's
now
really interesting, like how quickly there can be results. And some people see massive changes in one session. Some people, if they've had a lot more issues, need several. And, that's, I think, the difference. Like, they were better off than when they started, because we can test certain things and see what they're able to do that they weren't able to do, when the hour started, or the
Mhm.
session started. But just depending on how much is in there, can be how long it may take to really see that improvement.
Yeah.
But I
And
had
also,
like a fighter pilot, a female who, was doing crazy amount of flying really high altitudes that she couldn't swallow anymore. Like her food, she would not be able to, like, swallowing hurt. But she had been, wearing something, and just the gravity that she was up in
is
for so long, and then now, like, basically being on Earth was like a totally different experience. And there was so
wow.
much stuff in her neck and all of that, after we did 2 sessions, because she was only here to visit, and was like, I can swallow again. Like, it was just something that's just like,
Yay.
she couldn't swallow. Like, that was the reason she came to me. It was not for, muscle pain. And then there were other million other things that we put together because they needed that too. But just stuff like that. And imagining, their vestibular, right? Which is that balance, you're going upside down and all this and going really fast and forth. So that, not doing that anymore, definitely downgraded. So just, yeah, it's amazing some of the things that can be done with NRT that are just not what you think. Like, oh yeah, my
Yeah.
shoulder hurts. Yeah, we can do that too, but
Yeah.
also there's all
What
this
else is
stuff.
going on? And that's the thing too,
Yeah.
like depending on someone might come to you. I had a girl who had she had a brain tumor, so she's had multiple surgeries on her brain, and she's lost tons of function in lots of different ways. And when she got on the table, just going through her medical questionnaire, I was like, okay, I need to test this, I need to test this, I need to test that. Like we get some ideas of where things might be weak. And so
Yep.
I had a kind of plan in my head about the things that I would be treating. And when she
Yep.
got on the table and closed her eyes, she went into full freeze. Like her whole nervous system just went defensive just by closing her eyes, nothing else.
Mm,
And so I couldn't even get to the things that I needed to treat because I needed her nervous system to feel safe and calm just by closing her eyes. Okay. And
yeah.
skin receptors and a whole heap of other stuff that we ended up doing that wasn't what I'd planned to do because we couldn't get
Right.
there yet. So if the weakness is in multiple receptors, which it is often, it might take some unraveling to actually be able to treat the thing that you want because we've got to give you the capacity to do it before you can do the thing. And
Yeah.
so, what I ended up doing was completely different from what I planned. And then I've given a whole heap of stuff to work on as homework before we
Mhm.
come back together again because sound was shutting her down. Her visual system was shutting her down. Her
Yeah.
skin and just being touched in her physical body was putting her into defense. And when our nervous system is in a distressed state, or it's also known as dysregulation, what that
Mhm.
means at a nervous system level is that you have shut down and your body can't operate properly.
Yeah.
And with this modality, we're able to strengthen your whole nervous system as well as different receptors that are taking in information. And we have to give somebody the capacity before we reset certain weaknesses. And
Wow.
it's been brilliant. She's doing really, really well, but it just shows that we can't preempt anything because depending on how that person presents when they actually are at the session, we may not
Yeah.
get done what we expect to get done. Um,
And it's so funny because, like, I haven't been doing this as long, right? And I'm every time I have someone new or I have even a repeat, I'm like, okay, is there gonna be enough to do? Like, am I gonna find something?
God.
And every time then I'm like, oh my God, the hour, okay, I better start wrapping up. Like, it blows my mind of how much stuff there is to do on every person. I just always thought, like, I'm not going to find anything. Like, this person comes in and they look like, they're ripped. They're
Robust.
all, yeah, they look like really strong. They have a good diet. They're healthy. And then, like, there's just weaknesses everywhere. Like, I had this one guy who was huge. I mean, looked like he was double my size, and I'm tall. He was huge and he had a lot of muscle. And I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna find anything? And I couldn't believe how much stuff was, it was the shoulder, it was the thoracic, it was this, it
Mhm.
was that. And even though like you think, okay, yeah, they're very fit, they're very active, they're very strong. There's still so much stuff that can be hidden in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just by us being in unnatural environments, right? We were not meant to be under artificial lighting. We were not
Mhm.
meant to be moving in a car or in a plane
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
massive amounts of acceleratory forces on our systems, and it affects us negatively. And
Yeah.
people's nervous systems are shot as well. Even just by
Yes.
the way that we communicate and interact with one another, the way that we're not meant to be on devices and
Yep.
disconnected through technology, and we're meant to be connected. All of those parts, actually, all of those interactions are how a healthy nervous system gets grown and created in the first place. And that's
Yep.
why people are so weak in so many places, because we are living unnaturally.
Yes. And living, like you said, online in the moment, getting too much dopamine from all the social media,
Mm.
from this, from that. And also now you know all the horrible things that are going on in the world. And that is a negative effect, so it's every little thing. It's your entire body of the food you put in it, the light, the water, the hydration, the digestion. It's just, and then the nervous system and your eyes. So it's like you have this much, and then every time there's something that doesn't like, it's taking this much and this much, and then all of a sudden now you got nothing because you used everything. It's just
Yeah.
it's it's crazy how much can some people can take more than others, and some people,
Yeah.
like the littlest thing, will just throw off their whole
Sorted.
day.
Yeah.
That's usually when you need nervous system regulation.
Mm. Yes. And it's like also, I think when people start uncovering how this works and getting a bit more of an understanding of it, and they'll get more and more as the treatments progress because they've got that wisdom, because they've had that experience and they know exactly what's going on. Um, and and then you discover all the other weak parts of you, and then it becomes, I want to optimize this and I want to fix that and I want to be strong here. And so it becomes something that then people want to strengthen in other areas of their body, rather than just being an acute way of treating their tennis elbow or their back injury or their whatever is going on for them.
Yeah.
And also that multiple things make us weak. I had a girl last week. She's only like 11 or 12, bless her. And usually I wouldn't work with children. I work with usually 14 and over.
Mhm.
But if I can test their nervous systems through that testing protocol, then I can treat things. Because if you can test it and find it weak, you can strengthen it and make it stronger. So I said to her mum, look, we'll have a look and I'll just see if we can test what's capable. Her daughter didn't walk till she was 3,
Mm.
never crawled, and bum shuffled. Eventually,
Uh,
from bum shuffling to kind of walking, and then has never been
huh.
stable, has never had control of her limbs, has gone and seen occupational therapists, blah, 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 all the people, right? She's never known
Right.
what's going on. If she's standing
Wow.
even like rocky surface or uneven ground, she has to hold on to things. Like her vestibular system is screwed. Um, riding a bike, no way. Like things like that, it's just impossible. And I know her mother, and she had for a while been saying, "Oh, I need to bring her to come and see you." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, just whatever you think."
Yeah.
And she originally wanted to see me for a pelvic floor issue, because along with this balance issues and instability and weakness and tightness in her body, she has issues holding and containing her bladder.
Mm. Yeah.
And not surprising. And anyway, when she came to the session, I said to the daughter, rather than speaking to the mother, I spoke to her and I said, if there was one problem I could fix for you today, what would you want it to be?
Yeah.
And she said, my balance. And so it wasn't even
Mm.
the pelvic floor. That was what her mum
Yeah.
wanted to sort out. But when it came to it, she was like, no, I want to be able to balance.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting testing her, because you should have seen her face, Sarah. She was shocked, because she was
Mm.
in a strong state. And then when there's a weakness in the nervous system, your whole body will go into a shutdown mode. and you'll go
Yes.
globally weak everywhere. And it's quite a weird experience to be on the table and be really
It
strong, and then the next second be really weak and be like, what's going on here? This is some weird voodoo, something's happening.
Yes,
Um,
it is
and
very interesting.
it's shocking, right? And her mum's watching and she can see her go weak to strong. And that's already quite alarming just to watch. But because when you're feeling it, or
Hmm.
there is no denying when there's weakness in the nervous system.
Yeah.
Okay. And so she was quite shocked. And then we just did some of her basic vestibular systems, resetting her capacity to move her head and
Yep.
those signals be understood by the brain and then us respond accordingly. And it got better and better and better as we went through the hour. Obviously, she maxed out her capacity. And then I saw her again yesterday, and her mum said to me, thank goodness, like that we've come and we found you and we've connected with you, because I've been looking for answers for her whole life.
Yeah.
Made me a bit emotional because for those who
I-
don't know me, I was a sick baby, born covered head to toe in eczema, digestive issues, went into ICU, had problems growing, had problems thriving, and right from my whole life, I've had gut issues and skin issues,
Oh, yeah.
which is sucky. And my mother didn't search for answers to help me, didn't, she wasn't there or didn't have the capacity to look for answers in a world that said that there should be nothing wrong, or oh, it must be this, or you're never going to be able to do anything about that is the other thing. It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
you're told that you can't be fixed, and that's what you're going to believe. And so she didn't really
Yep.
look. And so I felt really
Yeah.
emotional with this mother because I said, you're doing the right thing because at least you've been looking, at least you've been trying to support your daughter. And now you found the thing, it's great and it's amazing and we can help support you. And
Yeah.
how hideous that you've just been hit by roadblocks you've taken to try and support your child. And it's not her. There's nothing wrong with her. It is her nervous system and her brain. The awareness of herself, if you want to call it that, or her sense of self is what is
Mm.
poor. And if we can improve that, you can then improve the control over her body.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's the sad thing is medical care is sick care now. So it is, you know, no, there is nothing really preventative. Like they don't really know that, or they're not doing the right things for that. But going to the doctor, they're not going to have an answer. They're going to say, yep, you know what? That's normal. And I don't know, or this is a diagnosis. Now you have this. Okay, what do I do? There's nothing you can do. So it's just very hard for any of my clients, whether it's, something like that, whether it's NRT or even nutritional, or the thyroid things that it's just, there's so much more. Did I cut out there? It seemed like
Yeah,
it
you
froze for a
did.
second.
I was just going to say, just cut out for a second.
Yeah.
You're saying sick
But
care
the majority
industry.
of, yeah, sick care, I mean, their medical is there for like trauma, right? You get in a car accident, you break something, that's where there's life-saving measures. There's a lot of new things to do. That's what it's really there for. But you need to be in charge of your health. And when your thyroid is not operating, they're going to say, oh yeah, you got this, or okay, just take this pill. Like that's not the answer. And what if you could fix the root cause? What if you could, get everything working optimally again? And you can. There's so much you can do. It's not a lack of medication. Or even then, if your blood work's totally normal, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's normal. I don't know, I don't know what to tell you. Like that's where most people get stuck is they have all these issues, they have no answers. They may or may not have a diagnosis and there's no plan. Or even if they do have a diagnosis, it's like there's still, this is just your life. And it's really difficult to hear that. And that's where I think more and more people are just sick of it and they are finding us. They're
Yes.
finding that there are answers out there. There are things you can do to feel better. And nutrition with NRT alone is like a superpower because it's
Mhm.
just There's so much the body is capable of restoring, and healing and changing and thriving again, even if you're not right now.
Mm, I love that
Mhm.
message. It is so
Yeah.
true. You are not hopeless. There is more available to us than we know, and
Yes.
we can fix things that aren't meant to be fixable. Uh,
Hmm.
and we say that with confidence and with love because of the work that we've seen, not only on ourselves, but on all the other people that we've worked with. And I would never promise someone something that I could not deliver on. Because that's what
Hmm.
I was given. I was given so many empty promises. Oh, this will help you. This will help you. This will help you. This will help. And none of it did. I was just chasing my
Hmm.
tail all the time.
Yeah.
And then when Simon first showed me this modality, I was like, I was like, what on earth has just happened to me right now?
Oh yeah. Yeah. The first
Everything
time I
I,
remember being, what?
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I worked on your hip flexion, I think was the first thing we did together online.
Yeah, I
And
think shoulder actually.
was
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
I've done so many
But
things on you.
then yeah, but then after I was like, well, that's so much better. Let's do my hip. Then I'm like, okay,
Oh,
let's
yeah,
do
yeah.
all this stuff.
Yes.
So, but it is crazy, how much can change. And even with, like, I'll have nutrition clients or any clients, and it's just, oh yeah, they're told this is just your digestion, or this is what's gonna go. And there's the body can fix it, it can change. And yeah,
Mhm.
there's so much more in there to be able to do.
So, if people are looking for support from you, where do they find you?
So in the buffwellness.com, that's my website, and I have all things nutrition as well as Neuro Reset Technique. I do that online as well as in person in Costa Rica. And if I also in the Buff Wellness on Instagram, that's where I'm most active. But yeah, you can find me, and I'm
Amazing. Make sure you
nutritional. Yeah.
connect with Sarah. She's a wealth of knowledge. I was actually saying to her this morning that I have got a ton of qualifications under my belt, right? I started by doing my degree in sports back in the day, and I did heaps of nutritional papers throughout my degree, and I had to unlearn probably 90% of what I learned at university. And
Yep.
going down the rabbit hole of food was such an awakening for me in so many ways. And I already had NRT before that. So I already knew that, it was likely that I've been misled or that the information that I've been given is outdated or whatever you want to think of it as. But it was really
Yeah.
being able to be open to new things and look for new things that actually work. And so I offer different nutritional programs. I just have two little ones. One's is like a beginner one. It's like, okay, how do I learn about all the things in a really
Yeah.
just easy to digest videos? And then a second one that I did with Professor Bart K, which is a little bit more in depth. That's like helping some carnivores that have been long-term carnivores with still having issues with such and such, or right from the beginning. So I've got those two new little nutritional programs, but I obviously do offer nutritional consultations. And if there's ever a issue or a client that is suffering from an issue that I can't solve alone, you and Bart are my up support, my up level.
Yeah.
That's why I say you're such a wealth of knowledge in this. I go to you if I don't know something, I go to Bart if I don't know something in health. And that's just been
Yeah.
so valuable for me to have that support on that other side. So definitely highly recommend getting in touch with Sarah if you need any support or you're in Costa Rica. Make sure you get to her and have a treatment. This stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's not
Wow.
cheap, but neither is anything that works. And we can actually prove that we can do what we say we do.
Yeah, and this isn't like going to the chiropractor week after week after week for the same thing over and over and over. And that is why it's different. You don't need to necessarily do this forever. Like, is there a lot you can do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there things that you could maybe only do 5 sessions and never come back and be
Yes.
90% better than everyone else in the world? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like you don't know
Yeah.
how much you need and you don't know how good you can feel. And like you
And
said,
also,
even for yeah.
You
It's
can stack it too. Like one of my clients in London, she is a single mother. She's got an autistic child, and she spends all her money on me. She will
hmm
do a session and then she will implement all the pieces and then chip away at it and then book another session. And so, even for somebody that is struggling financially, she understands the investment that she's making in her health. This is not a hourly treatment. This is something that you learn to implement into your day. You implement the tools to strengthen your nervous system and you get stronger every single day. And you learn how to test yourself in real time to actually identify where is my nervous system at, what does it require, and what's weak here, and what do I need to strengthen. And so it's not just a treatment, it's like it's really a relearning. And my signature program is 3 months, and that's because we need to put the foundations down. We just need to teach you a few things, show you how to do some resets, start strengthening
hmm
different parts. There's a whole protocol. It's like building a house. You don't lay it on crappy foundations. Like we've got to put those foundations in. And so I have a lot of my clients will start with a 3 month and then they just will either continue to do weekly or they'll just scatter them out. And then they're just doing a piece at a time, a piece at a time, a piece at a time. I also offer workshops. So it's a way that people can come and dip their toes in about neuro reset and how the nervous system and brain actually operates. And those are super affordable. I make them super affordable for people. I've got 4 workshops. I'll pop some dates below in the comments for 4, but you've got to be in New Zealand because they are only in person. But it's just another way that we can help support people. And I've got a whole heap of nervous system programs that are going to be online available for people to just do a bit.
Yes.
I want to strengthen my visual system in my eyes. Okay, I'm going to do this piece, or I need to do vestibular basics. Okay, because vestibular is huge, it can be massive. And just start chipping away at the weaknesses that exist in you and slowly, incrementally get stronger. And there's going to be more of that stuff available at the moment. You can only work one-on-one with a practitioner, but
Yeah.
there are other ways that you can access us if we are unattainable for you. Because when I started this modality, I didn't get into it to make money. I know that sounds funny because I was already in the health industry. I was already very successful in my career and my job. I trained trainers. That was my job to up level PTs to the best capacity at one point. I've had multiple companies, been very successful in my career. So I didn't need this. I wanted it
hmm
for other people. I wanted it for myself. And what
Yes.
that's resulted in is me throwing every time, energy, and fund I have at becoming the best in
I-
this that I can. And so not
Yeah.
only am I at a very high level of NRT, but I'm
Yeah.
constantly upgrading myself. So the value is just getting more and more and more and more every single day that I learn more about
Well,
this.
and that's why I agree, and that's where we both have that passion for it because same thing. I had a job, I was super successful at it. I did really well. It was making, you know, great money. And like, this is not something that I agree with anymore. And my values, I'm like, I don't think people need this. And what can I do differently? And I went back to school for holistic nutrition and wanted to make that change. And that's what started it. It was like, okay, I'm going to not be for big pharma anymore. And I'm going to flip this and build something my own. And then, now I can help people because I was that person too. And I know the changes you can make by just nutrition and lifestyle. And then same thing, NRT, I knew I needed, and it was helping me so much. I'm like, I need to learn more of this. Initially it was for me to understand more. And, I already had all of this background knowledge of clinical training and nutrition, but yet the brain and nervous system and muscular and skeletal and vestibular, all these words that I didn't know what vestibular was, that's not a word I ever threw out there for everybody who doesn't know. That's your balance and inner ears. But that's what got me like, wow, once you saw the difference in yourself, it's that I need to do this. I need to know more. I need to
Mm.
help other people get this too. So yeah, that's why we're friends and got to meet once live and hopefully again someday.
Yes, yes, hopefully again soon. I
Yeah.
love that you pointed that out because that is ultimately why we're here. We actually want to help people. Yes, we make good money. doing what we do, but we work bloody hard. We have earned it, and there is nothing else that can do this in the world. So I actually feel like I'm super high value. Like when people see my prices and they're like, oh my God, that's a lot. And I'm like, no, I'm a bargain. I honestly think I'm a bargain. I could charge so much more, but I don't want to because I don't want to be inaccessible to people. And that's
Yeah.
why I'm creating these other lower ticketed offers because everyone needs to be able to have access to this. It shouldn't just be for the elite or the people that are loaded,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have been able to afford me when I needed me. And so that's why these other resources are coming. So,
And
um,
because I'm newer, I have in NRT, my prices are much, in person are lower because I'm still building. I'm still trying to get the word out there and show people. Now,
yeah,
nutrition, I got that down. You want to know anything, if you're not losing, if you're having issues, like we're going to pinpoint it and we got that. So that is where my rates are actually higher. But
yeah,
NRT,
interesting. Interesting. Hmm. And it won't last that way. When I was in
no,
England, I charged whatever I charged. And when I first moved to New Zealand in 2021, my sister actually said to me, oh, you can't charge what you were charging in England here. People won't pay it. And I was like, okay, I took it with a pinch of salt and I did my job very, very well. And very quickly, people started hearing about me, and I very quickly went back to my normal rate. So I just dropped it a little bit. And once, yeah, the demand was there, it was a no-brainer. It was pretty easy. But yeah, I do always, well, I don't actually. We don't normally talk about the cost of this, but I think it's important for people to understand that this is an investment. You're investing in you. But
right.
that you
Well, and I'm still paying to train to learn more at the same time. So
constantly.
renting, I'm renting the space. I'm now saying, okay, I've never dealt with somebody who had, their part of their SIJ removed and this and that, all of these little things that are
Mm,
different. So
yeah,
I'm going to train to help you. So I can't do it for free because
yeah,
I still need.
yeah, exactly. And it is so valuable, for a
Mhm.
lot of people that don't want to go under the knife. For a lot of people
Yeah.
that don't want to keep suffering with pain and problems, but they
Yeah.
don't know that there's anything else. This is the thing you've been looking for. Like I can honestly say that with such confidence. This is the thing. Um,
Yeah.
so most practitioners I will just touch on are based in the UK. If you are sitting here going, oh my God, I am a practitioner in some kind of body works and I want this in my life, not only for myself, but for my patients, then it gets tricky because Simon Frost, who's the founder, does not train people who have not become into the space unless they're recommended by a practitioner. So if you don't know one of us 20, then it's very
Mhm.
unlikely that you're going to be able to learn this modality. And there's a number of reasons for that. People have asked me a lot about Simon lately. He is a very intelligent, very busy, very humble human, and he doesn't want this modality in the wrong hands. He wants it to
Yeah.
be used by people that genuinely care about people and genuinely want to help people, then it not be an ego thing where like, oh, here, I can do this reset on your shoulder and now you can increase the weight in your single arm chest press by 25 kilos in 15 minutes, which is what
Yeah.
I did. We
Yeah.
can make a ballerina's waist 2 inches smaller by working on her rib cage and her different muscles in her core. Like, that's not what we do. We're not aesthetically driven. We're here to actually help people. And so he doesn't just teach anybody. The other thing is, he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to teach people. He is so busy. He is
Yep.
flown all over the world. He works with very, very high, not just performance athletes and teams, but celebrities and royal
Yeah.
families and all sorts of things. And he doesn't talk about that, but he's very, very busy. And so he doesn't have the time to teach people. So there's a number
Right.
of reasons why this isn't just out there in the wild, and I really want it to be. It's not that we're trying to hold it to ourselves, it's that when and if this modality went mainstream, there would be 1,000 knockoffs of things claiming to do similar things with similar kind of protocol
Yeah.
that aren't
It
the
would be
thing.
watered down. Yes, it would be severely watered down. And is there still even a benefit at that point? We wouldn't know. So,
Also, when you're working with the nervous system and brain, it's dangerous. Like, I could give you 30 extra degrees in your horizontal adduction in one of your shoulder muscles. Okay.
mhm.
What that knock-on effect does, though, is creates different stimulus in the joint and in the surrounding muscles that cross that same axis or cross that same joint that I now
Yep.
need to have the skill to be able to test and reinforce and strengthen so that I'm not making a
Yeah.
system potentially more vulnerable. So it's not just oh,
Right.
slap it on. You have to
Yes.
really know your shit, so to speak. And when I first started learning this, I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to learn this. It's so huge. It's so much. There's so many divisions of tissue. There's so many things to learn. And
Yeah.
like, we're still learning every single week and growing and learning more. Um, but it is very complex. It seems simple to watch. It's incredibly complex
Yeah.
to
It makes it look easy, and then you're like, "Oh my God." So, yeah, it was a lot for me to learn, and because there is the whole how it works, and then
mm,
every single muscle has a position. Every single muscle has a long position. It has two positions, really, and then a joint, and it is just there's so much to know and learn, and I never worked on people, like, that was never my job. I was never
mm,
physically
yeah.
manipulating people. I was always teaching and educating, and so that for me, is new. But
Mm,
it's very, um, just takes a lot of practice, but I feel like I'm in a much better place. But yeah, same thing, like, when I met you 2 years ago, it was in London about 2 years ago almost,
mm.
and that was like an overwhelming week of learning all of this live because, I didn't live in the UK and trying to just jam it all in. It was like my brain was like, what? So it's
So,
definitely come a
so
long way, but yeah, it took a lot.
And
Yeah.
it's gonna keep happening. Like I'm very, very blessed that my fiance Anthony does NRT. So he's done it for about 5 years, maybe 6 years now. And this is my 13th year. And the way I keep track of it is the age of my eldest daughter, because I sat my first exam when I was pregnant with her. And so that's how I work out how long I've been doing this. I'm like, how old is she? Okay, it's about that.
Yeah.
But because of that, it means we can treat each other. Because of that, it means that we have that ability to learn and then apply. And because I've obviously doing it for such a long time, it allowed me to help support him with his learning and his evolution. So he's
Uh,
amazing, Sarah. He's so incredible. There's actually
yeah.
parts of the body that he is better at than I am. And that if I'm working with a client, and they require that part of the body, I actually refer them to him to get that piece done because he's going to do it 5 times quicker than I am. So I can still do it, but he can do it quicker.
Yeah.
And so we always want what's best for the client. It's never about me and my ego or my pride or like, oh no, I'm going to do it because I don't, no.
Yeah.
It's like what is best for the person, and then we facilitate that. Um,
Nice.
yeah, it's really great. I feel so blessed that he was accepted to learn. Now, he did not go, I'm just going to put this on here too. He did not get an auto admission into learning NRT.
Right.
He
Right.
said that he wanted to learn it. He asked if he could, and Simon put him on the waiting list over there, and he was just
Yeah.
a baby. It wasn't till he showed initiative in his own treatment and in his own learning and his own um, studying of the modality that he was actually accepted to learn. It wasn't to do with me. It wasn't just he got an in because he was my fiance. And I think that's quite
Right.
important to know because sometimes people are like, oh, it's who you know, but this had nothing to do with it. He got
Right.
to where he is by his own effort.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
now so amazing. I'm so incredibly proud for him
Oh,
because
it's awesome.
he's just incredible, Sarah. He's so amazing. And it's
And
nice
it's
to
so good to have
actually,
someone able to treat you because as
I know,
someone who is out here in the other
I
side of
know. It's hard.
the only one in this hemisphere, it's hard to treat yourself.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. And we are the only people in the Southern Hemisphere that do
Yeah,
this.
I know.
And it means that, when people are like, oh, someone messaged me the other day and they said, oh, do you know any practitioners in Auckland? Auckland's about 3.5 hours from me. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, dude, you're lucky to be in
Yeah,
the same planet, like same side of the planet as me. And that you're
yeah,
3.5 hours
exactly.
away, drive down, like come
Yeah,
to me. Like, yes, we can do
yeah,
online, but no, if you're in the country, you want to get here. Um,
absolutely. It's much faster, efficient,
oh,
and just
and
yeah,
there's
it's
things that
more.
we can't treat online. Like I learned some pieces last week and I thought about it and I said to Simon, I can't do this online, can I? He said, no, they have to be in person for you to do this piece. Like,
Yeah,
so there's certain pieces that are required, but
yeah,
it's just so amazing. And we just love it so much. And yeah,
yeah,
it's so exciting to have something that works.
yes.
Mm.
Awesome.
Thank you so much
Yay.
for joining me today.
It was nice to chat about NRT with somebody that actually understands it and knows it, and yeah, to get the word out there.
I know
So,
it's so funny that you say that. I said the same thing. I said to a client the other day, oh, I learned some vestibular progressions and how we then add it to the visual system. Have you done that piece yet? And you're using the helmet with the screen
oh
attached.
yeah,
As he taught
I've
you,
done
all
that.
that. I'm just like,
Separation.
oh my God.
Yeah.
And he said that he did it on all his polo players, and like every single one of them had massive increases in their strength and range of motion.
Yep.
It's
That was
like,
because I had an injury where I went upside down and did the whole thing and what point. So I
oh, did
did
you?
the, yeah,
Uh,
when I got hit with the wave. So we had tested that a while back that I did the vestibular ocular separation and holy
yeah.
crap. Yeah, I had to
But he's
do
like, don't do the
routine.
separation if you haven't done this, and there's so much, right? And that's the thing.
Oh,
People don't really understand how much we have capacity for.
yeah,
I treated a lady's elbow. Oh my God, it was so bad. So bad. No sense of movement, no sense of position. She couldn't load it. It was just a state. And I did tiniest bit on her. And then she said something, and I said, yeah, but we've only done two things. There's 22 receptors that potentially might be weak in that area alone. And it might be your wrist, and it's probably your shoulder too. Like it's not just your elbow. Just because that's where the pain presents doesn't mean that
right.
that's where the problem is. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a bit of a journey where people come on with you, and obviously they get to learn and experience more. But it is nice to have these talks so that people can listen to
yeah,
these conversations and start to open their minds and start to ask questions and be curious. And we're going to keep
yeah.
doing these talks. So pop any questions you have in the comments below. And Sarah and I
Yes,
get back together very soon and have another chat.
yes. Awesome. Well,
Awesome.
thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.